Come play with us, it's all so sweet. Susan's nursery got a special beat. Themes and tea time.
Hello guys, good morning. It's time for day 2 of outdoor therapy. I know it's my third day for outdoor, well, not third day, but it's about my 4th day for outdoor therapy. There goes my air conditioner again. If you hear it, sorry. Like I repeated yesterday morning, we have an older central unit in our home, and we have to supplement it with a window air conditioner for it to be cool enough in there till we can get the funds to buy a new central unit, since they are expensive. And these days it's getting expensive to buy groceries, much less any other kind of essentials. So yeah, as I went to the doctor yesterday and it cost me $40. This was with insurance. $40 to see the doctor, and then my medicine was $20 and some change. So it took $60 and some change for me to go to the doctor. Isn't that ridiculous? I mean, you pay for insurance, and then they want to stick it to you too. And that gets expensive, especially when you have health conditions and you have to go to the doctor like on regular basis, like to see specialists and stuff like that. Because I don't know about you guys, but your rates or your co-pays usually go up for specialists. Because I do call myself disabled, but I have not yet to receive disability benefits, so therefore I do not have Medicaid or Medicare or whatever it is, or anything like that. So I have to use or don't have to, I'm thankful for it, my husband's private insurance that he gets through his work. So yeah, so I'll get off my rant box. But anyway, today I wanted to do outdoor therapy. This is the 4th day I've been out here doing therapy, but only the 2nd day I've taped it. So I just wanted to say, I've been watching some videos, and some of our friends, I mean, I'm not a mental health professional, not by any means. What I'll tell you on here, I was taught by a mental health professional, or just like a mental health worker that was at that was in some of the facilities I've been in. I've been in quite a many facilities for treatment. I know, you know, that's kind of personal, but not to me. If it'll help somebody, well, drop my pen. If it'll help somebody, it's not personal to me, because helping someone else not take their life or harm themselves is personal to me. But telling my story isn't personal enough to me to avoid talking about it, and then having somebody have the same things go, and then them not be able to control them. I was looking at the dog. She walked up and she's got a bad habit of just standing there and staring. It makes me paranoid. Anyway, guess she's wondering, this is just like the 4th day. She's probably wondering, what are you doing out here? You ain't never outside. Well, where are you going? What are you doing? She can't get up on the porch because we have it gated because she'll take off with packages. So we have to gate the porch. So, anyway, what was I saying? Anyway, if my experiences and what I've learned help someone else, then I am very well prepared to share them, even though they might be a little bit personal to me. So first and foremost, I want to get off my chest something. I mean, the people on YouTube didn't say this. I had to wash my hair, so it's curling in all aspects this morning. It's being a booger and not wanting to lay down or nothing. But anyway, a lot of, I don't know about in the north, but in the south there is a lot of, I don't know, where I grew up, it might be a frame of mind that everybody has about mental health. And I'll tell you in the beginning, my strong belief systems that was installed in me, I guess, in my, I don't want to say that because I had, I was taught some how can I put this? I was taught some religious things that it more or less saved my life. But, there was other stigmatism, a stigma, excuse me, didn't say that right, towards mental health, because I think because of the way that was taught to us. Not by me, but like by other people. So at first I was like literally afraid to say anything. So what it is I live in the south, and I don't know if it's in the north or what, but I come from a very religious family, and when I say religious, I don't mean our belief system and what we did was kind of controlled by what you went and listened to on Sunday. Does that make sense? So it was like we were Baptists, like old, like blah blah blah, I can't speak, missionary Baptists. And I don't want to get into religion, but my point of view from that teaching is a little bit different from non-denominational, which teaches, I don't want to get into the Bible. I don't want to get into the Bible because I don't want to get into religion because there's so much controversy about religion. I don't want to get into it because I don't want somebody coming on here bashing me. So anyway, we were taught like that suicide was a sin, which I guess it would be because it's in the Ten Commandments. Thou shalt not kill. But so it would be a sin to kill yourself. And I don't know, it was always installed in us, if you killed yourself, then I don't know, like you couldn't go to heaven or something. It was like a non-forgivable sin. So, which I don't know. I don't know about that. Don't take me at my word. That was just what I was taught when I was a young child and a young adult, or a young teenager and a young adult, till I moved to another denomination, which was non-denominational. So I'm not going to get into that. But anyway, and right now there's no really non-denominational churches around here except for one. And I'll just say this: practice what you preach. So if you're talking about loving others, and I see like the preacher's family, now the preacher was friendly, but like if I see your family out, your wife and children, and you're teaching on the pulpit on Sunday to love and care for others, and your wife and children are snubbing their nose up at me and acting like they didn't see me, then there's a problem there. So yeah, I don't go. But anyway, we're not here for that. We're here for telling you that those beliefs in my early life, early part of my mental health struggles, really saved my life. When I first become, I don't know how many times I can say that word without getting flagged. But let's just say, and caution, we will be talking about some serious mental health problems. So if you're sensitive to that, or you don't have yours under control, then I'm not a health professional. I can't tell you what to do, and this is not meant to bash you or cause you to do anything that you're already thinking about doing. Okay, this is just I want to say, helpful video with my experience, with perspective from my experiences, so you can take it and leave it as you want. Don't get upset about what I said and do something that you're thinking about. That's not what this is about. This is to help people. So in my journey, in the beginning of my depression journey, I was actually given a medication. I was having migraines, and I was given this medication called Topamax, and it caused some very not nice thoughts, and that's what started my depression journey of taking depression medication. So I was pretty much controlled with my depression. I had a little bit of a mild depression. I was controlled in my mild depression with a drug called Zoloft. And again, I'm not a mental health professional. I'm not telling you to go out and ask your psychiatrist or anybody for this. That's just what I was put on. It's an older medicine. It's a SSRI. I was controlled with a normal, a little bit higher dose of it, as I was told later on. But they go even higher than that, so I don't know. with that, with Zoloft. But I was, controlled. My mild depression that started with that medication, was controlled with another medication called Zoloft. And I would, at that time, this place in town that did, I guess, mild depression. Well, they did higher stuff, but I didn't really feel like my interests were in the best. I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, they controlled my treatment with my mild depression, with psychiatry visits and therapy, like one-on-one therapy. A month I would go, it was fairly reasonable, once a month for therapy and once a month for psychiatry. So they're called Mountain Lakes, and they were kind of like the county. Not saying that anything's wrong with that, but they were like who we had around here, which was just them. And they were like the like a county mental health place. So, anyway, I stayed with them for a while, and then after I seen that, I really didn't need to go to see them other than getting the prescription, and the therapy I didn't feel like was helping me very much, because I didn't need that many coping skills because the medicine was helping. So I switched over to my primary doctor, or just switched that prescription over to my primary, and he filled it for a while until I got COVID. That's a different story. So excuse all my grays, guys. I've got to get this stuff colored. Anyway, until I got COVID in June 2021. And COVID kind of spiraled me down into something I wasn't sure about at first. I mean, I knew that it felt like my depression was getting bad, but I didn't know, wasn't sure about what I should do. And with having a busy life and, working, and your boss always on you about taking off early to go to appointments, and, the main office on you all the time about this paperwork and this paperwork, even though you watched kids for 6 hours and only had 2 hours to clean the entire room and do a mountain load of paperwork. I mean, I was under a tremendous amount of stress. And so I chose, instead of my health, I chose to do my job so I wouldn't, get wrote up or fired, or, something that would be not good. And I ignored my mental health. Really, I ignored it. And so what happened is we had this meeting, and my supervisor was like, well, you've either got some, she's talking to the whole group, either you've got some ideas still stored up about, your disciplinary children or how to handle them or a plan, or you've just given up. And I thought, well, I've given up on everything. I've given up on life. I've given up on my job because I would go in and I would feel numb. I mean, like numb. I didn't care. I didn't care if what the kids did. I mean, to an extent, yeah. But me teaching them like I used to do, because we would do this little, like, it was kind of like free play, really like a full free play day, because they had a flexible schedule because they were babies. They were 3-week-olds, could be 3-week-olds to 3-year-olds. So, it was flexible. The schedule was to meet their needs for play, diapering, and feeding, and, everything in between. So, we would let them kind of free play in the mornings, and when they do that, they got in the schedule, back before I got COVID, that they would bring me books, and it would be like little picture books that didn't have many words, and I would ooh and goo and talk about the pictures and let them, explore the book, and we would talk about it, and, they would try to talk about it. They were young toddlers, unless they were, older twos or what. But, they would, if they were a baby, they would pat the pictures, and I would tell them, well, look at the pumpkin. You see the orange pumpkin? Look at that. Or, look at the duck. He's yellow. He says quack, quack. So, they taught us to teach babies, vocabulary. So that's what we would do. And I got to where I would just turn them away. And if I had a baby in my arms, I would just hold it. Just sit there and hold it. I was just like a stump. And when I was at home, I was either in my bed asleep, or I was watching a movie, and I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want nobody around me. I didn't want nothing, nada, nothing. Food, didn't want no food, didn't want no drink, didn't want nothing. I just wanted nothing. I mean, I had basically slipped down into such a bad depression that I didn't even know what was happening. So I decided that day after that meeting, I had looked up some treatment centers in my area, and I had called them and made an appointment. They were a 24-hour. They're actually in Tennessee. I made called them and made an appointment. Now, if you look online and you're having these difficulties, if you look online, some of the treatment areas have 24-hour services where they can call you and actually make an appointment, or they'll tell you to go on in, or they'll tell you to go to emergency room, or you can call if you're in a certain, I can't remember. I know it's in some of the United States. You can call 988. Now, I don't know about out of the United States. And I don't know about anywhere else that you can't call 988. And what I usually do is I Google it. If I'm having trouble, I'll Google it on my phone, and it'll pull up where it says talk, text, or chat. And I usually chat with them or text if I'm having a rough time. And they'll tell you what to do. They'll even find treatment centers for you that they feel like that you need to go to. Or, you just ask them, hey, is there any 24-hour programs in my area, wherever you live, or, close to where you live, to where you could travel, that do appointments on 24-hour basis? or that you can go in and have an assessment 20 for 20, like for 24 hours. That they do them for, all the time, assessments. Because that's all the hospital does. When you go into the emergency room, they'll bring in a psychiatrist, whether it be in person or on a telehealth visit, and they'll give you an assessment and assess you, and they'll say either she needs to be treated with this and sent home, or we need to get her put in a treatment program now. And when they do that, they'll send out the nurses. Well, depends on if you get a good nurse in the hospital or not, because sometimes they don't want to fool with you. They just want to find you a bed and want you to leave them alone. And sometimes that takes a little bit for the process, because if you have, the way the nurse has explained it to me before, is as if you have insurance, they'll kind of like throw your name out there seeking for a bed and show your insurance. And if you don't have insurance, it takes a little bit longer to get a bed. But she says what happens is the first place that has a bed will reach out to them and say, hey, we have a bed. And they'll come in there. They're supposed to come in there and ask you. Because if it's like 8 hours away, I can't go there. Because I don't got nobody to pick me up when I'm done. Because they'll take you there in the ambulance, but they won't bring you home in the ambulance. So you got to have a ride home. So they're supposed to ask you and get your consent. But a lot of times they'll just come in there. Like this one instant, I had a friend that she went to a treatment program and they sent her 2 hours away. Or they had already done the paperwork for her, a bed for 2 hours away. But one called after they had already done the paperwork, and it was like a 40-minute drive from her home. And she was like, they told me they wasn't doing the paperwork over. I said, then next time, don't sign the paperwork saying you're going there. You tell them no. You're going to the closest facility to your home, because that will be the best way for you to get picked up. They're just, a lot of places are just ready for you to get out of there, to get out of their hair. And that's wrong. There's a lot of stigma towards mental health. Like, they treat you like dirt. I mean, and mental health is like anything else. Any kind of health-related thing. It's not... It's a chemical. A lot of times, it's chemical, and you can't help it. You need medication, and, most of the time, you can't help it. But what I meant is, it can be other things that cause it. I'm not a doctor, so I can't say. Or a psychiatrist. But what I have been told before is, it's kind of like certain things can make mental health go crazy. Like your thyroid. I had no idea that, I turn that off, that's my medicine alarm. I had no idea that your thyroid could mess up your mental health. So, there's lots of different things that cause it, and they're treating you like a nutcase. Oh, psycho, crazy person. That's how you get treated. And I'm like, you going to the nut house, you going to the, what was it? A sane asylum. That's this stigmatism that a lot of us has been put in our system, especially if we're from the 80s and we're from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, it wasn't until after, and even thousands. I mean, it wasn't after till like COVID 2020 that people started being aware and alert and non-judgmental about mental health things. I mean, I was literally, I know I've got off the subject, guys. I was literally ashamed that first time I went to the emergency room to tell some of my family that I'd been to the emergency room for mental health because of that stigma and the way that they look at things. Oh, she had to go into the crazy nut house, the sane asylum. I mean, you know, I don't know. Anyway, I found a hospital in Tennessee that did assessments 24 hours. So they was going to make me an appointment for that night, but I didn't have a ride because I was too out of it to try to drive because of my mental state. I was too out of it to drive myself. Not out of it, but too mentally distraught and too mentally fixed on harming myself to drive myself. So, my son, he was off the next day, so I told him just to make me an appointment, to come in early the next morning. So she wanted to make sure I was safe. She wanted to make sure that all guns were put up. She wanted to make sure all sharp things were put up. She wanted to make sure, that was just their procedure. And if you had someone in the home with you to watch you and keep you safe till you could get in for an assessment. So I told her I did, and we took the precautions. Of course, the guns are always locked up because, we have our niece and nephews and all them come to our house, and I don't have the code anyway because I care less about a gun. But anyway, we took the proper precautions as she talked about. I had somebody, in the room with me the whole time. And then if I got up during the night that night, my husband would get up with me. But I slept most of that night, I think. But, or I stayed in the bed. So all I'd have to do was, wake him up if I felt like I was, feeling like I wanted to harm myself. So, yeah. So that morning I went in for my assessment. And they had a psychiatrist come in and assess me. And he decided, since I didn't have a plan, since I didn't have a suicidal plan that said when, where, what, all that. And I'm not telling you that so you can make one. I'm just telling you what it is. Since I didn't have a plan and hadn't, tried self-harm before, he felt like that, or actually attempted. I had, thought about it, but hadn't attempted self-harm and didn't have a plan, that he felt like one of their outpatient programs would work for me better. So every day for 2 weeks, I went from 9 o'clock to 2 o'clock. The morning from 9 to 12, we did group therapy. Then we had lunch and we saw the psychiatrist, and she would do medication and all that. And then after lunch, we would have like a teaching type therapy where they taught you tools. And then at 2 o'clock you went home. And that went on for about 2 weeks. And then my insurance didn't feel like I should still be on the full program for outpatient. So they bumped me down to just part-time, which was Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, but it was only the group therapy from 9 o'clock to 12. So I did that for a little while, and it didn't work. I had to have some medicine treatment, and since I couldn't get in with, my doctor could write my primary physician would write the prescription, but she wouldn't move it up or down because she said, she felt like that needed to be for my new psychiatrist, which at that time was like I don't know, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 month wait to get in to a new psychiatrist appointment. So, if you didn't have, a physician, a primary physician that was willing to adjust, to make adjustments, but she didn't feel like with the severity of my condition that she was qualified to up and, move my medicine up and change it or whatever. So I ended up having to go into a treatment facility that I stayed for about 6 to 7 days, and they changed my medication and got me into a psychiatrist, which was forever till I got in with them. But I was good with my medicine. It kept me at bay. I was still had some depression symptoms, but not severe depression symptoms. So I was able to get into my psychiatrist that way. But then until I found the medicine just wasn't right, and I had some conditions that they hadn't diagnosed yet, and they weren't treating the right conditions. So I ended up in another treatment facility for 7 days, and that doctor didn't change a whole lot of my medication. Then when I went back to my psychiatrist, he put me back on the medicine he had me on before that wasn't working, that the psychiatrist at the hospital had changed. So I ended up at the end of that month getting back into the treatment program, and that psychiatrist that I seen at the beginning of the month in the treatment program changed my medication altogether. And I did okay for a little bit until I found me a new psychiatrist, and then we struggled to find the right medication and combinations. So she suggested that I do this thing called Gensight, and I'll put it up there and show you. But it's a website, and you can either go through your doctor and do it, have your doctor order it, or you can go through Gensight yourself and talk to them. But what it is it's like a DNA test. When I got the kit, it was like 2 swabs, and I just swabbed one side of my cheek and the other side, and sent it into them. And what they do is they decipher your genes, And then they take different kinds of psychiatric medication and match it with your actual genes. So you have like a good list of, like, the best list of medications is in the green, and then you have a moderate that's in the green, and then you have a red list that says you shouldn't take. And it breaks them down into the medications, the psychiatric medications, like antipsychotics and antidepressants and mood stabilizers, and there's a couple more. It breaks it down so you have like pages for each one, and then it has actual pages for like smokers. So if you smoke, then it takes that into account to better serve your system if you smoke. I don't know what that has anything to do with, but anyway, yeah. So I did that, and then I had a little trouble with my psychiatrist. They don't like to answer the phone, and I needed to cancel my appointment, and I called in enough time to cancel it. You have to cancel in 24 hours. Well, I called the day before. Called. Didn't know till the day before that I needed to cancel, because I have small fiber neuropathy, and sometimes I have to have a driver if I'm going a ways away from my home, because my feet go numb and my legs go numb, so I can't drive. So something happened at my son's work, and he had to cancel on me. So I called them all day the next day, and they never answered the phone, never answered it. So I called early the next morning, and I told them on the phone. I left a message. I didn't leave a message the day before. I should have, but I told them what wouldn't have mattered. And I'll tell you why in a minute. I left a message and told them that I had tried all day the day before to call them, and nobody answered, and I needed to cancel and reschedule my appointment. And I told them who I was, what time it was, and what date it was. Well, the next time I call in to make an appointment, they're like, you got a $50 charge on your account. And I'm like, well, what for? And she's like, you had a no call, no show. And I was like, I don't think so. I called all day the day before, and then early that morning, as soon as y'all opened, I called and left a message because y'all wouldn't answer the phone, and told y'all that I tried to call all day the day before, and y'all wouldn't answer. And now I got a $50 charge because y'all wouldn't answer the phone. And she was like, oh, well, we had the person that answers the phone was out, and we'll have to go through the messages, and all the messages hadn't been gone through, and we'll take it off as soon as we go through it. So I'll just go ahead and make you an appointment, because you couldn't make an appointment unless you paid your balances. So she's like, we'll go ahead and make you an appointment, and you can come in and we'll get that took off. So I went in for my appointment. Then the lady at the front was like, you have a $50 charge additional to your copay. And I was like, no, I don't. She's like, yeah, you do. I said, well, the lady on the phone told me that the person that answered the phones, when I called and tried to cancel my appointment, was out, so y'all hadn't went through all the messages. And when y'all went through the messages, y'all were going to take that off. So the lady that actually talked to me on the phone was in there, and she talked to her, so she was like, okay, just give me your copay and you can go ahead and make um, your appointment. Well, that happened a couple more times, and then I had to call and cancel again, and I didn't find out till short notice, and they wanted to charge me another $50. And I was like, look, I'm on a fixed income. Well, might as well be, because we don't got nothing but my husband's paycheck, and it don't go far enough. So, I'm like, hey, I can't pay that plus that one that y'all said y'all were going to take off just to make an appointment. So, I had to find another psychiatrist. And the one I found, he didn't believe in the Genzyme stuff. So, he put me on something that I'd already been on before that didn't work, which was an old antidepressant. But he did put me on a medicine called Latuda, which was working pretty good. And then I had to go on in for treatment again. This time because I couldn't drive. It was like an hour and 20 minutes to where that psychiatrist was. And he'd only wrote me enough, like he only wanted to see me every 2 weeks, and he wouldn't write me but enough pills for every 2 weeks, so I'd have to go back. So I didn't have a driver, and I can't drive that far because my feet and legs go numb. And I talked to him about this, and she's like, well, he said that he's not going to write you an extended prescription unless you come in. I said, well, I can't come in. I ain't got nobody to drive me. I said, and it's dangerous for me to be taken off those drugs and then, or be put on those drugs for this amount of time and then taken off of them. You know, that's serious business. Those depressants. So she was like, well, let me talk to him, and they never got back with me. So I ended up in a treatment system, another treatment center this time. And the social worker at the treatment center helped me get into this new psychiatrist that I just started seeing, and I really like her because she looked at my Genzyme and she added a medication to go with the medications that the doctor added from my Genzyme at the hospital. So I'm really excited about it. I've been doing very well this time. So I've been doing some outdoor therapy. So during my outdoor therapy, sometimes I will do music therapy while I sit and enjoy the morning air, or watching the birds play, or listening to them sing. So what I did was find music that comforts me. And it's the 80s, because I grew up on the 80s music. So I found a station that plays 80s music. So I'll turn it down a little bit. I mean, just enough to hear while I'm out here listening to sights and sounds and enjoying my outdoor therapy, doing my mindfulness grounding like we talked about yesterday, which is using your senses to ground yourself, like concentrating on what you hear, what you see, what you taste, what you smell, things like that. And yeah, so I've been enjoying that, and I've been wanting to share it with you guys. And I'm sorry it's long and I got off the subject a couple times, but my outdoor therapy is going well. And sometimes I like to bring, but that's my music therapy. They taught us some music therapy in the hospital, which was drumming, which I really like. You can have like a can, like if you buy the cans of coffee, or you can just use your tabletop or, the floor, and kind of drum to a beat. Play you some just like not lyrics, but like musical part, and play the drums and sing. And music therapy is helpful to me. Is it for everybody? No, because some people don't like music. But find what you like and try to incorporate it into your therapy if you're having mental health problems. Like if you like to draw, you could draw what makes you happy, or draw what you would want to see to make you happy. Or color. You can find the adult coloring books, and color. I did a lot of coloring in the treatment center. We also did some coloring, like feeling coloring, like freelance, she gave us a circle. She called it something, I can't remember. But I used the oil pastels, which are the oil, like oilier crayons that they use a lot in artwork. They kind of blend and different things. And she asked us to, express how we felt. And I drew a rainbow. And that kind of, because I felt happy. So a rainbow, to me, when I see a rainbow, that makes me happy, makes me smile. So I drew a rainbow. So something like that, like art or music. If music is not your thing, then art. If art's not your thing, maybe watching a funny movie might be your thing, or listening to comedy might be your thing. Something that will lift your spirits and keep you thinking about what makes you happy. Or expressive writing. If you want to write a story about what's going on in your life, or how you feel at that moment, or a grateful, you could do like a feeling journal. But I find it, especially with I know there's a lot of people that watch my channel that have fibromyalgia and have different disabilities, or not disabilities, but conditions. And I find it very helpful for me to do a grateful journal. And it helps me when I get in these moods of, I can't do that no more. I can't do this no more. I can't do that no more. It gives me more of a perspective on what I can do, what I can still be grateful for. So I usually just put down, I'm grateful that I can still make myself a cup of coffee. I'm grateful that I can still bathe myself and dress myself. Because if you think about it, there is some people that can't. It might take you, it takes me a while. I have to sit down after I have to sit down during my shower. I have to sit down after my shower to dry. I have to sit down to put on my lotion and all that. And I have to rest in between there if I get out of breath. So it takes me longer than it would have before. And sometimes that irritates me, but I need to tell myself, hey, you're doing it. You're providing your own self with your needs. So don't be upset about how long it takes you. And if I'm going somewhere at night, or if I'm going somewhere that next morning that's early where I can't, because I try to make my appointments late in the afternoon. That way, as soon as I get up, I can kind of get myself ready early. That way I'm already ready, so I'm not feeling like I'm rushing. Because when I feel like I'm rushing, it makes the feelings worse, and then I get angry, and then I get frustrated, and then I get hot, and my body doesn't control temperature like it used to with POTS that I have. So I get hot, and I get bothered, and I get mad and usually forget something when I'm in a hurry. And so I try to make my appointments in the afternoons just in case. But if they happen to have a morning one and that's all they got and it's early, I try to do all of my hygiene things at night before I go to bed. And then when I get up that morning, I just do like a sponge, because you sweat during the night and stuff. So I try to do like a sponge off, like my underarms, and other places. But I've already had a bath, so it's not that bad. I just sponge off, and then dry and put on my deodorant, put on my lotion, put my clothes on. So and sometimes I don't put on lotion, depends on what kind of a crunch I'm in. But anyway, I did bring Myra out to see you guys, and I was sat here and talked the whole time and hadn't showed her, but she's in her pumpkin spice, everything nice outfit. It is like a cream soda type orange on the background, and it has darker orange leaves and orange pumpkins and espresso to go cup, pumpkin spice coffee with it has, well, some of them have different things, because that one, yeah, it does. It has a pumpkin at the top on the white liner or the white strip, and then it has whipped cream with brown and orange sprinkles on the top, and then there's brown stars and brown writing and brown stems all over it. And then she has on a gold and orange skirt that has a pretty little orange bow on the front. And then she's wearing the bow in her hair that goes with the skirt. So she's looking oh so adorbs this morning with Mom, sitting with Mom. So she's been sitting with Mom during outdoor therapy and enjoying the outside. So anyway, I didn't mean to make this video this long, but I did want to share some of my journey and the stigma about mental health and different ways that you can do tools. So just remember, I want to leave you with this note. If you have realized you need help, if you have asked for help, if you have been seeking for help and you have received help for your mental health, then you have made the first real and important step. So if you're in the boat that I'm in, keep your head up. There's nothing wrong with it. The same kind of disease as a cold or Parkinson's disease that you can see, or any other kind of disease you can see with your eyes and know it's there. Mental health is that too. Your mind can get sick just like your body. So just remember that. Keep your head up. There's nothing wrong with it. And always, always seek help. So I'm here. I do have an Instagram page that you can message me on. I will put it in the description. My link to my Instagram. And I will put also my email if you want to get in touch with me. And I'm always here for help. If I don't know the answer, I will put you in the right direction. But again, I'm not a mental health provider or therapist or psychiatrist or anything like that. I'm just I'm a educated patient. I don't know if I'm well educated, but I'm an educated patient. So, my email is susandunn601@gmail.com. I'll put it across the screen, and I'll also put it in the description. So, you guys have a wonderful day, and me and Myra will see you later, probably for Best Friends Club. I don't know about the announcement. I'll have to look, because I had a pretty eventful afternoon going to the doctor and finding out I had pneumonia. But if you want to hear that story, it's in my on Wednesdays We Wear Pink video. So if you want to hear the story about how I found out I had pneumonia, then you can go over there and look, because everybody probably knows that's been watching my channel knows I've been sick. So yeah, I found out I had pneumonia yesterday. So I'm gonna let you guys go, and we shall see you later. If not for Best Friends Club, for something else. So I'm sorry guys, my hair is tickling my nose. So bye for now, guys. Take care.